Welcome back to The Jump. We're going to check out some highlights from the Grizzly Heat scrimmage that's going on right now. Jimmy Butler finding Bam Adebayo for the bucket. Welcome back to Bam. That was his first game inside the bubble. And this from a little later. John Morant throwing down 2 amazing alley-oops. This kid has not missed a step. So those are from before. We're going to live look into this game now. Zach, while we get that up on the screen, what are your expectations for the Heat this postseason?
Well, first of all, the world deserves the Jimmy Butler revenge series against Philly. That's what the world deserves. Second of all, the Heat kind of profile is almost one of the least exciting teams in the East in terms of upside, but they gave Philly fits with his own defense, and if they ever get Milwaukee, they were 2-0 against Milwaukee. Bam defended Giannis very well. So they have some matchup-specific advantages, and I'm excited to see how they fit in Andre Iguodala. Like, we barely got to see that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because for such a large portion of the season, Miami Heat fans were like, why aren't you talking about the Heat? It's because they didn't have enough veterans on their team. And every time the Miami Heat fans would criticize us for not talking about them, we were like, the reason why you guys aren't favorites is because you don't have enough depth and veterans. So what did Pat Riley, one of the great basketball minds, go do? He went and got Andre Iguodala. He went and got Jay Crowder. Then you add that to the layoff, and it allows those young players like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero to rest a little bit. Now I think the Miami Heat are in a position to make a ton of noise because of the additions and because of the layoffs.
You talk to them down here in the bubble, and I'm telling you, they feel like they are the most built for this team of any of the teams down there. Jimmy Butler keeps saying, this is going to be a mental slog, a mental challenge, and he's like, who's more up for that than us? So I love watching them play, and this is a fun little game here going on, even though it's just a scrimmage. I do want to switch gears, though, over to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They might be the biggest surprise team out west this season, and we want to get you caught up on their journey to the bubble. Oh, yes. It's time for another installment of The Jump's previously on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chris Paul got a little fancy in OKC's win last night. John, do you think CP3 takes his coffee with a little nutmeg?
I like it. Sometimes that's just the best way to get where you're going.
Is it, though?
Yeah, it is.
Even when rebuilds are smart, they're not usually a lot of fun.
If you talked to some of the experts beforehand, no one would have believed you guys would be here.
I expected our record to be better.
Steven Adams, taking all 7 feet of splendor there. Last night was, in fact, only the 3rd time he has put on a real pair of pants since the year 2013.
Why doesn't he just throw the shoe?
He's trying to put it back on. He thinks he can get it back. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the second-year player, dropped 20, 20, and 10.
20, 20, and 10?
That's so tough, bro. 20 next, you know what I'm saying?
Man, he's so smooth, man. I loved him with the Clippers last year.
If you hear Doc talk last year, he was the one player he really didn't want to give away.
Yeah. Personally, it's been fun because I beat Chris in every shooting drill.
He's the big brother and I'm the little brother, but that's just because he's taller than me.
Chris catches an untucked jersey violation.
Sometimes refs just be like, whatever, but that is the rule.
How do we feel?
I love it. Chris is a by any means necessary competitor.
Absolutely.
I'm all for Chris's shenanigans. Put your jersey in, know the rules.
Such a fun season for the Thunder. I'm still most impressed by Steven Adams putting on pants for only the 3rd time in nearly a decade. But, you know, you could also look at the fact that they have been so dominant in clutch time. When the last 5 minutes of the game are going, the score is within 5. Oklahoma City is 29 and 13 in games that go to clutch time with the league's best offensive efficiency. It's pretty impressive. Richard, how dangerous do you think this Oklahoma City team is now that we're down here?
I think they're very, very built for this. What's so funny is I did the Oklahoma City versus Nets game, and so much of this basketball analytics are give up that mid-range shot. They don't want to give up threes. They don't want to give up layups. Well, Chris Paul carved them apart with mid-range free throw jumpers. That's his little shot. So when I look at what he's able to do, how he can direct this team, and the shots that so many teams are giving up, he masters them. So when you get to crunch time, and that's why they're so good in crunch, they don't want to give up threes, you don't want to give up layups, but Chris Paul has an amazing in-between game, floaters, creates. So I love Chris Paul at the helm of this team, and he has been such a great leader to these young players. That's why I believe they are where they are.
I think they're really dangerous. They're one of the best clutch teams I've ever seen in the NBA, and Chris Paul is one of the greatest clutch players in the history of the NBA. His teams always outperform in the clutch. I do think those clutch stats get at one little thing that nags at me, which is I don't think this team has another gear to get to in the postseason. That's not a bad thing. They're already really good, but I think they kind of maximized what they have. That said, they're dangerous because they're tough as hell. They play good defense, and to RJ's point, they know exactly who they are. They have an identity, they're comfortable with it, and they will not beat themselves.
Yeah, I love that they're playing without any expectations. They should just go be who they are. And you know, I think with this team, the possibility of making some noise in the postseason means so much to Chris Paul after the way that trade went down. I expect to see him being very determined. I love those mid-range jumpers from him because I always say I understand that 3 is more than 2, but guys, 2 is more than 0, and that is what he puts in over and over again.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.